Hello, and welcome to Em and Mike Read a Book. I'm Mike.
I'm Em.
And we're continuing our read of The Count of Monte Cristo. So apologies for the people who watched the recording and didn't see the live stream. We were halfway through chapter 5, and then we just decided we were too tired and we didn't keep going. So we took a break, we said we'd come back, and then we didn't. Or at least we didn't post the recording of what happened afterwards, which was us coming back saying...
Just keeping people on their toes.
Yeah, I guess exactly. That we're just like, you never know what you're gonna get with us. Yeah, maybe we'll continue, maybe we won't. We'll take a break. Are they gonna come back? Who knows? Well, we're back, and we're gonna read the second half of chapter 5 of The Count of Monte Cristo. Where we left off, Danglars has just been. I don't know if he's been arrested yet, but he's being taken away by the magistrate.
Oh yeah, they were at this like ceremonial dinner.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna get married like ASAP, like today.
Yes, and they were gonna get married super quick. Then this magistrate shows up because Dantes and Danglars. I confused the two.
Oh. Yeah.
I apologize. Sorry, it's Dantes who's being taken away and hauled off by the Popo. And it's Danglars, Caderousse, kind of reluctantly, and Fernand who kind of put this whole thing together.
Yeah.
So he's being pulled off, and towards the end he was saying, like, it's all fine. I'm sure this is a big misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Sure.
And Dantes' poor dad is like,
my son. So that's where we're at. Let's see where we get. Let's see if we can finish chapter 5.
Let's see if Fernand survives the heart attack he's been having this entire
Yeah,
chapter.
he's been having like heart palpitations this entire time. We'll see how it goes. Do you want to start or shall I?
I can start us off.
Go for it.
Okay. Well, hang on. Now I realize that looks like it's in between the thing. Okay. I'm going to start here, actually.
Okay.
During this conversation, Dantes, after having exchanged a cheerful shake of the hand with all his sympathizing friends in the wedding line, but it's a jail line, had surrendered himself to the officer sent to arrest him, merely saying, "Make yourselves quite easy, my good fellows. There is some little mistake to clear up, that's all, depend upon it. And very likely I may not have to go so far as the prison to effect that." Scrolling. "Oh, to be sure," responded Danglars, who had now approached the group. "Nothing more than a mistake, I feel quite certain." Dantes descended the staircase, preceded by the magistrate, and followed by the soldiers. A carriage awaited him at the door. He got in, followed by 2 soldiers and the magistrate, and the vehicle drove off towards Marseille.
I don't think he's coming back.
I think he's gonna come back with a beard and long hair.
Many years later, what year is it?
Yeah.
Kind of like...
Yeah. What year is it? I don't even remember Mercedes' voice. "Adieu, adieu, dearest Edmond," cried Mercedes, stretching out her arms to him from the balcony.
She's actually holding it together quite well, considering her, fiancé was just hauled off by the police.
Yeah.
On her wedding day.
Agree. The prisoner heard the cry, which sounded like the sob of a broken heart, and leaning from the coach, he called out, "Goodbye, Mercedes. We shall soon meet again." Then the vehicle disappeared round one of the turnings of Fort St. Nicolas. "Wait for me here, all of you," cried Monsieur Morel. "I will take the first conveyance I find and hurry to Marseille, whence I will bring you word how all is going on." "That's right," exclaimed a multitude of voices. "Go and return as quickly as you can." The second departure was followed by a long and fearful state of terrified silence on the part of those who were left behind. The old father and Mercedes remained for some time apart, each absorbed in grief. But at length the 2 poor victims of the same blow raised their eyes, and with a simultaneous burst of feeling, rushed into each other's arms. Meanwhile, Fernand made his appearance.
Here we go.
Poured out for himself a glass of water with a trembling hand, then hastily swallowed it. Was it actually water? Went to sit down at the first vacant place, and this was, by mere chance, placed next to the seat on which poor Mercedes had fallen half fainting, when released from the warm and affectionate embrace of old Dantes.
So this is like, now's my time. I'm
Now's-
gonna make a move.
He's like,
yeah, like, I know you were gonna get married today.
literally in like 2 hours.
But
Check
me out.
Instinctively, Fernand drew back his chair. Take it away.
He is the cause, oh, sorry, that's Caderousse. He is the cause of all this misery. I am quite sure of it, whispered Caderousse, who had never taken his eyes off Fernand, to Danglars. I don't think so, answered the other. He is too stupid to imagine such a scheme. I only hope the mischief will fall upon the head of whoever wrought it. You don't mention those who aided and abetted the deed, said Caderousse. Surely, answered Danglars, one cannot be held responsible for every chance arrow shot into the air. You can indeed when the arrow lights point downward on somebody's head. Meantime, the subject of the arrest was being canvassed in every different form. What?
Some rando.
Okay. Here's some random guy. What think you, Danglars, said one of the party, turning towards him, of this event? Why, replied he, I think it just possible Dantes may have been detected with some trifle article on board ship considered here as contraband. But how could he have done so without your knowledge, Danglars, since you are the ship's supercargo? Why, as for that, I could only know what I was told respecting the merchandise with which a vessel was laden. I know she was loaded with cotton, and that she took in her freight at Alexandria from Pastret's warehouse, and at Smyrna from Pascal's. That is all I was obliged to know, and I beg I may not be asked for any further particulars.
Please do not poke holes in my story.
Please do not look any more closely at this facade I am displaying. Here's old man Dantes. Now, he's like, French Dumbledore, right. Now I recollect, said the afflicted old father. My poor boy, told me yesterday he had got a small case of coffee and another of tobacco for me. There you see, exclaimed Danglars. Now the mischief is out. Depend upon it, the custom house people went rummaging about the ship in our absence and discovered poor Dantes's hidden treasures. Mercedes, however, paid no heed to this explanation of her lover's arrest. Her grief, which she had hitherto tried to restrain, okay, so she was like really holding it in. Okay, that's good. Now burst out in a violent fit of hysterical sobbing. Come, come, said the old man. Be comforted, my poor child. There is still hope. Hope, repeated Danglars. Hope, faintly murmured Fernand, but the words seemed to die away on his pale, agitated lips, and a convulsive spasm passed over his countenance. I think he's gonna die.
He's just like
I think this guy is like at death's door. He is gonna die. We might be peaking just a little bit. I'm gonna back off the gain just slightly. Okay. Here's someone new from the party. Good news, shouted forth one of the party stationed in the balcony on the lookout. Here comes Monsieur Morel back. No doubt now we shall hear that our friend is released.
Kirby?
Oh, I guess, yeah. Mercedes and the old man rushed to meet the ship owner and greeted him at the door. He was very pale. What news? Exclaimed a general burst of voices. Alas, my friends, replied Monsieur Morel with a mournful shake of his head. The thing has assumed a more serious aspect than I expected. Oh, indeed, sir, he is innocent, sobbed forth Mercedes. That I believe, answered Monsieur Morel, but still he is charged. With what? Inquired the elder Dantes. With being an agent of the Bonapartist faction. Many of our readers may be able to recollect how formidable such an accusation became in the period at which our story is dated. So
that is such a random insertion of like a
the
like
author
an editor's note.
Editor's note. That was a big deal.
Like,
that was a sick burn.
Are these editors?
I guess that's the author.
If it was done
Author's
in,
note.
If it was released in like a periodical.
I guess.
You know, like magazine editor note.
Yeah, maybe. And you know, it was, I think. Like I was saying, I think last time that it was released. So who knows? Maybe this was an editor's note that had slipped in somehow to the published work.
It's just so random.
Yeah. Why don't you take it from here?
A despairing cry escaped the pale lips of Mercedes. The old man sank into a chair. Ah, Danglars, whispered Caderousse. You have deceived me. The trick you spoke of last night has been played. But I cannot suffer a poor old man or an innocent girl to die of grief through your fault. I am determined to tell them all about it. Why do you tell the bad guy your plan? You don't tell the bad guy your plan.
Well, in this case, he kind of told... Well, it's like the bad guy told the less bad guy about his plan, and now the less bad guy just told the really bad guy about his plan to tell everyone about the plan.
Oh my god. I don't think Hatteras is bad. I think he's just dopey.
I think he was dopey and a little half in the bag, yeah.
Be silent, you simpleton, cried Danglars, grasping him by the arm. Oh, I will not answer even for your own safety. Who can tell whether Dantes be innocent or guilty? The vessel did touch at Elba, where he quitted it and passed a whole day in the island. That's German. And passed a whole day in the island. Now, should any letters or other documents of a compromising character be found upon him, will it not be taken for granted that all who uphold him are his accomplices?
Oh, snap.
With the rapid instinct of selfishness, Caderousse readily perceived the solidity of this mode of reasoning. He gazed, doubtfully, wistfully, on Danglars, and then caution supplanted generosity. Suppose we wait a while and see what comes of it, said he, casting a bewildered look on his companion. To be sure, answered Danglars. Let us wait by all means. If he be innocent, of course he will be set at liberty. If guilty, why, it is no use involving ourselves in a conspiracy. Let us go then. Let us go then. I cannot stay here any longer. With all my heart, replied Danglars, pleased to find the other so tractable. Let us take ourselves out of the way and leave things for the present to take their course. After their departure, Fernand, who had now again become the friend and protector of Mercedes.
Wow, really sort of somehow glossed that whole, like...
Yeah, what?
That whole thing over. Because things were, like, tense between them, and now he's like, they're okay.
I guess she's like, I'm glad
I have a friend.
We're good now, and I have a friend, and he's like...
He's totally like, hey, baby.
He's just prepping the bedroom.
While I'm here, yeah.
Fernand led the girl to her home, while some friends of Dantes conducted his father, nearly lifeless, to the Allée de
Milan, darling.
The rumor of Edmond's arrest as a Bonapartist agent was not slow in circulating throughout the city.
Marseille? It's circulating through all of Marseille?
I guess. It's weird. Yeah.
I guess it must have been a really big deal, or he was more famous than we give it credit for.
Or Marseille was really small. Could you have ever credited such a thing, my dear Danglars? Asked Monsieur Morel, as on his return to the port for the purpose of gleaning fresh tidings of Dantes from Monsieur de Villefort, the assistant procurer, he overtook his supercargo in Caderousse. Could you have believed such a thing possible? I don't know why Danglars' voice... Why, you know I told you, replied Danglars, that I considered the circumstance of his having anchored on the island of Elba as a very suspicious circumstance. And did you mention these suspicions to any person beside myself?
So what do we have here, by the way? This is Old Man Dantes, Mercedes, and...
It's gotta be...
Maybe this doesn't happen yet.
Maybe
but this...
that's Monsieur Morel? Bringing the bad news?
Could be. I don't think there's like a title or a description here. Alright.
Certainly not, returned Danglars, then added in a low whisper, You understand that on account of your uncle, Monsieur Policar Morel, who served under the other government, and who does not altogether conceal what he thinks on the subject, you are strongly suspected of regretting the abdication of Napoleon. I should have feared to injure both Edmond and yourself had I divulged my own apprehensions to a soul. I am too well aware that though a subordinate, like myself, is bound to acquaint the shipowner with everything that occurs, there are many things he ought most carefully to conceal from all else.
Well, technically, we're all treasonous. We're all Bonapartists, so you know, glad it's not us.
'Tis well, Danglars, 'tis well, replied Monsieur Morel.
Oh, good.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
You got me.
You are a worthy fellow, and I had already thought of your interest in the event of poor Edmund having become captain of the Pharaon. Is it possible you are so kind? Yes, indeed. It is possible. I am the best. I am the best person. I had previously inquired of Dantes what was his opinion of you, and if he should have any reluctance to continue you in your post, for somehow I have perceived a sort of coolness between you.
No.
And what was his reply? That he certainly did think he had given you offense in an affair, which he merely referred to without entering into particulars, but that whoever possessed a good opinion and confidence of the ship's owners would have his preference also. The hypocrite, murmured Danglars. He's so mean.
He really is the worst.
Poor Dantes, said Caderousse. No one can deny his being a noble-hearted young fellow. But meanwhile, continued Monsieur Morel, here is the Pharaon without a captain. Take it away.
Oh, replied Danglars. Since he cannot leave this port for the next 3 months, let us hope that, ere the expiration of that period, Dantes will be set at liberty. No doubt, but in the meantime, I am entirely at your service, Monsieur Morel, answered Danglars. You know that I am as capable of managing a ship as the most experienced captain in the service, and it will be so far advantageous to you to accept my services, that upon Edmond's release from prison, no further change will be requisite on board the Pharaon, save for Dantes and myself each to resume our respective posts. Thanks, Danglars. That will smooth over our difficulties.
Not that old.
Not that difficulty? Alright.
Old.
He's old, but not that old.
Thanks, Danglars. That will smooth over all difficulties. I fully authorize you at once to assume the command of the Pharaon, and look carefully to the unloading of her freight. Private misfortunes must never be allowed to interfere with business. Be easy on that score, Monsieur Morel. But do you think we shall be permitted to see our poor Edmond? I will let you know that directly I have seen Monsieur de Villefort, who I shall endeavor to interest in Edmond's favor. I am aware he is a furious royalist, but in spite of that, and of his being king's attorney, he is a man like ourselves, and I fancy not a bad sort of one. Perhaps not, replied Danglars, but I hear that he is ambitious, and that's rather against him. Well, returned Monsieur Morel, we shall see. But now hasten on board. I will join you there ere long.
So saying, the worthy ship owner quitted the two allies and proceeded in the direction of the Palais de Justice.
This is funny, the quitted.
Quitted.
Instead of left.
Left? Yeah. Okay, so it seems like somehow Danglars just got himself promoted to captain.
Totally.
Which is crazy because he was supercargo before. I guess maybe supercargo is part of the crew. It's like
a surveyor maybe. There's someone who's like kind of a coordinator.
I'm in charge of cargo. I'm like
That's a big step.
I hold the list. I hold the list of the cargo.
It's a big step up.
And now I captain the ship.
Like you have to know how to I don't know, do rope stuff.
Do you?
I assume. I don't know. What's involved in being a captain? Wearing a really cool hat?
Yeah, good question. If you know what a supercargo is and what the qualifications are and what the growth path career-wise is from supercargo to captain, do let us know in the comments below. All right. What's going on here too? We've got this has got to be old man Dantes.
Yeah,
he looks really rough. Like he looks like he's on the way out, to be completely honest. And Mercedes, who really applied that, she's got that smoky eye, or what do you call that?
Heavy eyeliner.
High eyeliner going on there.
Cat
Eye, yeah. But she's really concerned. She's taking care of him right now, and I don't know where they are, but maybe they're still at the wedding place. I don't know. We'll see. Why don't you take it from here?
Okay. You see, said Danglars, addressing Caderousse, the turn things have taken. Do you still feel any desire to stand up in his defense?
And he's like, Capitan? Capitan?
He's already got the hat on.
He's got the hat. He's polishing the buttons.
Yeah, that's right. Not the slightest, but yet it seems to me a shocking thing that a mere joke should lead to such consequences.
Oh, a joke, an escalating joke. Yeah.
But who perpetrated that joke, let me ask? Neither you nor myself, but Fernand. You knew very well that I threw the paper into a corner of the room. Indeed, I fancied I had destroyed it. Oh, no, replied Caderousse. That I can answer, for you did not. I only wish I could see it now as plainly as I saw it lying all crushed and crumpled in a corner of the arbor. Well then, if you did, depend upon it, Fernand picked it up and either copied it or caused it to be copied. Perhaps even he did not take the trouble of recopying it. Wait, what?
Maybe he just took the original, uncrumpled it. And...
Oh, right. And now I think of it, by heavens, he may have sent the letter itself. Fortunately for me, the handwriting was disguised. I didn't think about that in advance at all.
Wow, this really worked out for me.
I didn't plan for this. Yeah, exactly.
Like, what a hilarious misunderstanding.
Yeah.
Also, now I'm
Thank God my butt is entirely covered.
Yeah.
Then you were aware of Dantes being engaged in a conspiracy? Not I. As I before said, I thought the whole thing was a joke. That is not French at all. I thought the whole thing was a joke, nothing more. It seems, however, that I have unconsciously stumbled upon the truth. Still, argued Caderousse, I would give a great deal if nothing of the kind had happened, or at least that I had had no hand in it. You will see, Danglars, that it will turn out an unlucky job for both of us. Nonsense! If any harm come of it, it should fall on the guilty person, and that, you know, is Fernand. How can we be implicated in any way? All we've got to do is to keep our own counsel and remain perfectly quiet, not breathing a word to any living soul. And you will see that the storm will pass away without in the least affecting us. Take us home.
Amen, responded Caderousse, waving his hand in token of adieu to Danglars, and bending his steps towards the Allée de Milan, moving his head to and fro and muttering as he went, after the manner of one whose mind was overcharged with one absorbing idea.
So far, then, said Danglars mentally, all has gone as I would have it. I am, temporarily, commander of the Pharaon, with the certainty of being permanently so, if that fool of a Caderousse can be persuaded to hold his tongue. My only fear is the chance of Dantes being released. But there, he is in the hands of justice. And,
added he with a smile,
she will take her own.
So saying, he leapt into a boat. What? Where's this boat?
What?
Where did he find this boat? So he just hopped into a boat, just waiting there on his left, desiring to be rowed on board the Pharaon, where Monsieur Morel had agreed to meet him. End of chapter 5. Wow.
Right.
Wow. Dantes is screwed. Also, I feel like Danglars reminds me so much of who's that guy? He's like the classic betrayer in Shakespeare.
Oh, Iago.
Iago, thank you.
100%.
He reminds me of Iago. Like, he's just he's just a manipulator. He's so good at just crafting these little ploys and then shifting blame. Like, he's crafted this thing and he's orchestrating not only the events but the people around him to trip into these little traps he's created. Mm-hmm. I hope if there's any justice in this book, that karma will really just kind of come crashing down on him eventually.
No justice in the world.
But we'll see how it goes. So it sounds like this is probably going to be a book about Dantes versus Danglars. Or at least that's where it's currently set up. Caderousse sounds like he's the weak link right now.
Yeah.
And in Danglars' plan, and Fernand is the fall guy. He's your Oswald right there. He's the guy who's gonna take the fall for this whole thing if anyone decides to look into who sends a letter or something.
I got a bad feeling Dantes' dad is not gonna make it.
No, that photo did not look good. I got a feeling there's gonna be just this huge fallout.
That'll be the tragedy. It'll be a series of cascading
tragedies, and I think that's gonna supercharge Dantes into being full Ronin revenge mode.
Take an energy bean.
Yeah, he's just gonna go ham. He's gonna be doing this push-ups in prison for is there a similar story where someone was just
absolutely
Terminator 2, you know how Sarah Connor was just working out in prison waiting to get out? She wasn't in prison, she was in a insane asylum or something, but that sort of thing. I have a feeling Dantes is just going to be getting ripped and becoming
a bunch of
hardcore
badass friends who will
he's going to become
journey.
Batman.
It's gonna be like Princess Bride. He's gonna become the Dread Pirate Roberts.
Yeah.
And he's gonna come back and just
and just bring
Take
it home.
vengeance and
And probably toy with him.
yeah.
There's like 5 books to this story. There are like 5 sub books. Like if we take a look, like if we take a look at the index. Oh man, contents.
like
volume 1. We just finished chapter 5. Volume 2, 3, 4. There are 5 volumes. And so I got a feeling this is going to be a big cat and mouse game. We'll see how it goes. But this is very exciting. I think we're going to stop it here, though. My throat's starting to bug me. It's not. Donglar is very hard to do. It's nothing to do with the coronavirus. It's more like I just doing Donglar. That I need to like do some vocal warm-ups or stretches and not abuse my voice so much. But that was chapter 5. Let us know what you thought in the comments below. And you know, if there's anything we can do to make the stream better for you, let us know. And we will continue with chapter 6 in a couple of days. Watch my Twitter feed, Mike_Conley at Twitter. Find me on the Twitter, and I'll post whenever we're doing the next one of these. Yeah. So take care of yourselves.
Be safe.
Be safe. Wash your hands. Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye.